Hello everyone, this is Luke again, and welcome back to yet another Ninjago video to the channel today. Do you guys remember when I made my video talk about my favorite episodes of each season? Well, now let's do the opposite. So, today I present you my least favorite episodes of each and every season. Same rules apply as before. I'm not going to count the pilots, I'm not going to count Day of the Departed, and I'm not going to count the movie. So, those three installments out of the way, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Just those installments. So, let's start. First up, my least favorite episode of Season 1. Season 1 had a lot of episodes. It had a lot of good episodes. But it also had its fair share of ones. And my least favorite episode of this is Once Bitten, Twice Shy. How ironic that my favorite episode and my least favorite episode kind of go back to back. The reason why I consider this my least favorite episode is because, well, it was essentially, which, even as a kid, I didn't really care or all that much, because back then, the whole idea of kissing was not really that well fond of, because nobody really liked it, but especially with the whole cooties thing going on. If you remember the whole, you have cooties. And also, Jay's true potential kind of sucked, honestly. He simply got it just because Nia kissed him, really. I understand what the message they were trying to do was be yourself. You don't have to, pretend to be someone else in order to like someone else. I understand that, but I feel like they overdid it with the romance in this episode. Next up, my least favorite episode of Season 2. And you probably expected this, but it's from the first half. The supposedly infamous first half, where basically where it kind of just slowed things down. It didn't really pick up the pace a lot. And my least favorite, with a score that I only gave out of 2 out of 10, Ninja Ball Run. Now, a lot of people might have been expecting something like Double Trouble or Wrong Place, Wrong Time, but Ninja Ball Run I chose. Simply because, well, it kind of makes Double Trouble really pointless, since the kids that they supposedly helped in the Double Trouble episode just kind of mess with them in the race and nearly made them lose. And, the ending is complete and utter bullshit. I know what those announcers said, no rules. But, like Garmadon said, that's not even street legal. You can't even do that. I'm pretty sure that's the hidden rule. That's why I never believe it when a contest says there are no rules. Just kidding. There are rules. And that was clearly a rule that the ninja broke. I don't know, it just made the ninjas seem as the bad guys by cheating to win, and Garmadon, the bad guy, actually played it fair and square, It really did not come across the right way to me, and it really made try to enforce the idea that cheating was okay, which it's not. Next, we have Season 3, Rebooted. Now, there aren't that many episodes, and most of them are pretty good. With one exception. And you probably figured this one out. It's Blackout. Blackout isn't really that great of an episode. Let's be honest here. And I think this is especially true, especially since this was kind of like the, not exactly like the climax, but one of the, rising actions, if you want to call it that, of the love triangle, the infamous love triangle, especially with, Jay and Cole just mouthing up at each other, going, ugh! Just go like that. And it was just complete chaos at the end of the day, and the whole wire thing was kind of pointless, since there was no, she didn't actually reveal what the wire was. I just feel like it's kind of weird how both of the wires were blue and black. But yeah, this episode, because of its one of the main focal points was the love triangle, it made this episode a lot cringier and a lot harder to watch. And now we have Tournament of Elements. Now, you may be thinking, there isn't a single bad episode of Tournament. Well, there are sorta. Most of them are good, with a couple of exceptions. Some of them were just meh, and some of them, and one in particular was just a little, how should I say it, easy to predict. And that is Spy for a Spy. And the reason why this one is my least favorite is because the whole purpose of that episode was finding out who this spy was. And if you actually have watched my worst plot twist video, you would know that the twist with Skylar being the spy was actually made it onto that list. It was just kind of easy to predict for me. I just never liked Skylar as a character, and I still don't now. So, it was kind of easy to predict for me. Now, Season 5, Possession. Possession, lots of good episodes. A couple of meh ones, and then one pretty bad episode. This episode is Kingdom Come. The main reason? Cloud motherfucking Kingdom. This realm, as much as it looks beautiful, makes zero sense. Like, basically, the ninja don't even make their own decisions. They're just written by the master writer. And, it's complete crap. And it really kind of crapped on, the whole idea that the ninja chose what they were. No. They didn't choose them. These writers did. Which is complete crap, in my opinion. And this episode didn't help because Fenwick, I hate you. And what the hell was that Nimbus creature? Like, what was going on in this episode? Like, even the snow slide down the freaking mountain, that didn't really help this episode that much. Hell, even Dancing Ghoul Tart didn't really help that much. Oh boy, I knew it. I knew this was gonna come. Season 6, Skybound. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, oh, his least favorite episode is The Way Back. He doesn't like the finale. It's true, I don't like that finale. But it's not my least favorite episode, believe it or not. My least favorite episode is actually the first episode, Infamous. You cannot... If there was a way not to write a Ninjago episode, this episode proved how to not write a Ninjago episode. First off, they introduced kind of this whole idea of sex. They tried to input some sexism into this, which is a very touchy subject that if you handle it improperly, could deal more harm than good. So I feel like they should have just not touched on that subject at all, just to not risk it, essentially. I understand what they were trying to do and make Nia trying to objectify her, I guess, but I'm not entirely sure about that. And this also started a very bad arc that I actually think is worse than the love triangle, and that is the prison arc. Like, what was the point of the prison arc? I still wonder what the hell the point of it was. And it just, even that one scene with Nanakon and Klaus didn't help. And it was actually the first episode where I gave the big old goose egg to an episode a 0. Yeah, that's how harsh I was on that episode. I hate it so much. I think it's actually my least favorite Ninjago episode ever. Ever. Next up, Hands of Time. Now, it's obviously going to come from the 3 middle episodes, 4, 5, and 6. Those episodes were kind of slow, if I'm going to be honest. And I really feel that way, especially since the middle introduced the slow time blade, where it slows time down. And my least favorite episode is Scavengers. Scavengers overall just kind of, it was a bit slow, a bit boring. It was boring, and in a sense, a bit too silly. Especially since season 7 is kind of one of the more mature seasons. So the whole comedy that they tried to input just did not fit really well into into that season, especially with the ninja annoying Lloyd. Like, come on, don't be an idiot, all right? Ow, I bit my thumb. Ouch. And then Zane just messing up. Like, why? Why was that a thing? I still don't understand why they had to disable Zane for 2 episodes. I still don't understand that. And at least it kind of got back on track, but it doesn't really make up for the boredom that we saw. Season 8, Sons of Garmadon. Now, a lot again. Sorry, I had to let me get this. Sorry, I was backspacing on my Google Doc. So this one is going to be a bit of a shocker to a lot of you, especially since I think season 8 is kind of highly regarded like Tournament is, and people think there's no bad episodes at all. Well, there is one, and this isn't partially. It's what is kind of partially due to the episode, but rather the movie as well. And I'm going to prepare you, so I'm going to give you a 3-second warning before I say my it. So, 3, 2, 1. My least favorite episode, True Potential. I do not like that episode at all. Hear me out. To me, Big Trouble in Little Ninjago is not the finale. It's Dread on Arrival. Dread on Arrival was the whole thing. The whole thing was set up to bring back Lord Garmadon, and I just really did not feel that those last 2 episodes belonged in season 8. They just didn't belong. In a sense, they were sort of like they were trying to force stuff into 2 episodes, and it just doesn't work that way. And, well, this episode kind of proved that, and I don't know. I just can't like that battle between Lloyd and Emperor Garmadon. It's one-sided, which kind of makes it easy to predict that Garmadon will win. I hate it when Lloyd does his fucking wind-up thingy that makes no sense. And I understand they were trying to put emotion into this, but the emotion backfired on me. It really backfired on me because I just can't get the movie out of my head. The movie is the whole reason Garmadon was brought back. And I really don't like how they brought him back, which completely fucks over his season 5 ending. And it really makes me so incredibly mad to this very day. It makes me so mad. And I just can't like that episode. I'm sorry. I just can't. Season 9, Hunted. Hunted is a bit of a weird one, especially since it was doing the whole double storyline garbage that I didn't really like. So my least favorite episode, I think it was more focused on the First Realm story, which I thought was a major disappointment. And that is, I think this one was also really liked as an episode, How to Build a Dragon. I just didn't really like that episode that much because it's so boring. It is so boring. It's literally a pain to watch. It does not feel like 22 minutes. It feels like a freaking movie. It feels like a movie watching it. And I just can't sit in place watching this. Everything moves so insanely slow. And there's the infamous Kai Season 8 Gi animation error, which I will never, ever forgive. I can't believe you fucked that up. that ruined the entire Wind Dragon scene for me. That whole thing ruined it. What a disappointment of an episode. Back in the actual good side of things, we have March the Oni. And March the Oni actually has some pretty good episodes. And this one was hard to choose, but for my least favorite, it's got to go to Into the Breach. Not because I dislike this episode. I like this episode. However, one, I prefer the other 3 episodes more. Yes, I do prefer endings more than this episode, even despite the whole plot holes in it. And 2, not as much happened in that episode as it did with the others. You know what I'm saying? So, while this episode I like, due to the fact that there's only 4 episodes, it's my least favorite. Season 11, Secrets of the Forbidden Spinjitzu. This season is riddled with iffy episodes. It's riddled with it, and I'm not even kidding. So this one was definitely a hard one. This is probably the hardest one for a worst episode list. Season 1 is probably the hardest for like a best episode, but this one was the hardest one for least favorite episode because there's a lot of bad ones. But if I had to choose one out of those, it's easily the absolute worst. There's no reason for this episode to exist. It's filler. It is absolute filler. Now, the whole topic of filler I will probably discuss in another video, but this is the one episode that even the people who defend the filler episodes say, yeah, that is filler. That's filler. There's no reason for this episode to exist. Just saying. Season 12, Prime Empire. So, this one had a 4-way tie for my least favorite episode. Yeah, 4 episodes got a 5 out of 10. And that included the finale, Game Over. But that finale isn't my least favorite episode. My least favorite episode is I Am Okino. The reason why I think it's my least favorite is because, kind of like How to Build a Dragon, this goes on forever and ever and ever. It's a drag. It is one of those episodes that feels like it lasts way longer than it actually does. Especially with just the sheer amount of ridiculousness in it. I understand it tries to build up Okino, but it kind of did it at the expense of, some silliness into it. So yeah. And also, the ninja get their digisuits without an explanation. So it's like, where did you even get those suits? So that is just the cherry on top, essentially, for why the episode is my least favorite. Season 13, Master of the Mountain. This episode that I talk about, this one is probably an easy one. I might as well get straight into it. It's the real fall. The only reason that this episode exists is to introduce the lowly / the uply. That's it. You could skip the majority of it. The only thing that matters in this episode is like the last minute. Like the last minute, 30 seconds to a minute of that episode. Before that, you're pretty much just watching Cole, Wu, and Vanya falling and falling and falling and falling. And that is not entertaining. That is boring. This one is a weird case for the island. And I'm just going to put them here. They're all my least favorites. I could not choose a least favorite because they are all my least favorites. Because this season is incredibly boring. And it tries to set up Seabound, and yet it doesn't really have that much effect into Seabound at all. So, essentially, it's almost like a wasted installment. So, yeah. And finally, we have Seabound, the most recent installment of the series at the time of this upload. There were mostly good episodes. There were some meh ones, and then there were 2 iffy ones. My least favorite is Riddle of the Sphinx. And this episode, while it had some good action at the end, prior to it, it was just, what the hell? The Explorers Club, I hate them. They're stupid. They're stupid. Get them out of here. Clutch, screw you. I hate you. The whole riddle was so easy to predict. I mean, I understand that because it's a kid's show, but like, you already used that riddle. Does Decoded not exist to you? Like, I understand Decoded is not technically canon, but like, you still used it even despite it not being canon. So, what was the whole point of the riddle, essentially? That whole Cecil guy, he's incredibly annoying. Just and that's it. My head is hurting from talking about this. And yeah. What are you guys' least favorite episodes from each and every season of Ninjago? Let me know in the comments down below. And thank God I'm done. I probably need a rest after this. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. And click on the notification bell to see every video that I will upload. And I'll see all you folks in the next video. Bye-bye.